Hi Scope readers, I'm Lisa Yee. You may know me from my books Millicent Min Girl Genius or Warp Speed. I am so excited to judge Scope Magazine's first ever Write a Story contest. In fact, I've written 3 first lines to stories that don't exist yet, and that's where you come in. You're gonna pick your favorite line and write your own fantastic story. And I'll judge the winner. I can't wait to read what you've written. When I read a short story, I'm looking for something that grabs me. It's gotta be interesting because I want it to take me away from wherever I am and take me to a new place. Everyone has a different process. Mine usually starts with chocolates and procrastination. But then I set that aside and I get down to business of writing. A lot of times I think about who's gonna be in the story, and sometimes I even write the endings first, but what I always do is I write an outline. That's just a beginning, middle, and end. I mean, it's really easy to do. For example, the beginning, well, you know what the beginning is because I've given you 3 first lines to pick from. And the middle is what happens in the middle of the story. And the ending is the resolution. Think about the people that you've read about in stories or characters that you like from movies. That's what makes a character interesting, someone that you want to get to know better. For example, in my book, Millicent Min Girl Genius, it's about this girl whose IQ is off the charts. But what's really interesting about her is not that, but that she's lonely, and that's something that everyone can relate to. So when you're writing your characters, think about those things, and write about someone that you would like to spend some time with. When you're writing your short stories, you don't want to have so many things happening that you can't get it onto the page. You want like 2 or 3 main points to focus on. And when you're writing that, don't think that it's going to be any less than a novel because it's still going to be great, but it's going to be more focused. When you get to the end of your story, you have something called a resolution. And that is that the character has changed, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worst, but something has happened to them over the course of the story. For example, in my short story, Girl Can't Dance, it's about this girl who becomes really popular and it all goes to her head, and so she loses all her friends. So the resolution of that story is, she realizes that if she wants to gain them back, she's got to change somehow. This may sound kind of gross, but I want you to just vomit on the page. I don't mean literally vomit, but what I mean is just write something down. It might be terrible, I mean you might hate it, but just write something down because you can always change it later. The fact is that you can't rewrite something if there's nothing to rewrite. Think about that. You've already done the hard part, and now comes the fun. Revision is your chance to make something better. When you print out your story, change the font, change the margin, because that way it looks like you're reading something absolutely new. I might revise something maybe 5 or 6 times. I mean, on occasion, maybe I've revised 1 or 2, but I have never ever written anything that hasn't benefited from revision. Okay, so are you ready to write? I hope so, because I can't wait to read your stories. But in the meantime, I've got to go and write my own. Bye.